Hello and welcome to this episode of Seedy Location. In this episode, I'm just going to be doing the second part to the extras and filling in more of the stuff which I glossed over on the first episode there. In this episode, I'm going to be covering using loot quality. As you know, that some gear can have different levels of rarity and how good or bad it is. I'll be looking at ways of organizing that. I'm going to be looking at how to use your starting character. As I talked about characters being brittle, I'd like to demonstrate what I mean by characters being brittle and how it can affect gameplay there. I'm also going to be going over factions and how they play. Well, I know how they play in Netrunner. I'm going to be going over how they'll be when you role play. Also when you're going to be using these cards. So I'm also going to be going over story points. Someone asked me about using agendas as plot hooks, and so someone, well, didn't ask me, someone came up with it on Facebook, and I said yes, that's actually a very good idea. I thought about a way you can do that, and I'm going to go over that. I'm also going to be going over some of the corporation cards and how you can use them in your role playing sessions as well. So let's begin, but first some cleanup. If you're new to this, or if this is the first video you've ever seen, I highly recommend that you don't look at my videos or you don't subscribe, because most of the time I was actually drunk, and believe me, as amusing as that sounds, it's not going to be very pleasant for you. Anyway, so this one is a serious one for role players. Anyway, let's get on to this. So first of all, loot quality. As I mentioned in a video previous, you can use cards to indicate loot, and you can have talked about interpreting them. This time I've actually got a corporate card, and I've still got some more runner cards here. Now, what you can do is you can have, like, you have the normal runner card, and this is just a normal card. But what you can do is you can take a card sleeve, and now this clone chip is like a premium clone chip, so you get a boost die for using it, or you get some kind of other hidden benefit because it's in the green sleeve. So green sleeve indicates that it's extra rare, and brown sleeve might indicate that it's like a subpar one, so you have to get an extra black die. Oh yeah, so there's a green get boost die, black you get a black die with it. Great, so you understand it. That's the way it works. You can get card sleeves to indicate how rare it is. Now on the screen here, we've got some ice. Ice is also loot, so you can also get some ice from the card game. And oh, you know what? I might actually save that for the third video. Okay, so we've got some ice on screen here, and I love playing as a sysop. If you look at the FFG playthrough, you'll probably see me there going on and on about sysops, and I apologize for that. If you look at here, you notice that some of this ice is restricted. And remember how I went over how this has got 4 pips for influence. Some of the ice is high influence, and I notice it's all the high influence ice that are restricted. So when if you use to roleplay, you can create a talent. I think I'd put it at level 3. That gives you access. So like you're a valid operator of ice. You know, you're licensed to buy this ice, and you'd have to do it at level 3 per faction. Because I think it'd be too good if you can get any ice. Although level 5, maybe, let's say you're a level 5 operator, you're qualified to buy two more types. So there'll be one faction ice you can't buy that will always forever be restricted to you. I think that's quite good. Yeah, level 3 you can buy restricted ice from one faction, and at level 4 you can buy 2 more restricted ice, because you'll be like a fully licensed one. At level 5 maybe you can buy all faction ice and you get a discount. Yeah, that seems like a good talent just made off the top of my head there. But either way, using these card sleeves can be very good, and that's what I want to go over there. Let's see, what have I got on my list here? So I'm reading an invisible list in case. How brittle characters play. Right. Before that, let's have a look at rarity. Now, because the reason why I'm looking at rarity here is, again, my character is going to be playing a Sysop, and I want to be an ice hunter. In the Android Genesis book, Shadow of the Beanstalk, there's a section there, a page on it, about searching for god ice. They're called theologists, and I didn't know that this was a thing. I just thought I came up with that, but no, it was actually in the book this entire time, which was quite amazing. And I know what the four main types of god ice are. Shame didn't get to see any more. The point is, I'm not going to be able to use this rarity list to find it, because it'd be a daunting check, and all I'd get put into the process of theologist. I'd have to join the theologist group, and I imagine that we'd go ice hunting together and trying to find this god ice. But I think that would be a good thing. That would be a good adventure. And the point is, modifying this rarity to find the best loot could be interpreted using the pip system again. So let's have a look. Let's take this clone chip, for example. Now, this clone chip is rated at 2 pips, but it's really broken. It's really broken. Rated at 2 pips. So I would double that. I would automatically double the amount of pips on here. So if it's got 1, make it 2. If it's got 2 here, so make it 4. So rarity 4. It's an average check. So if I was to try and look for a clone chip, I would have to do an average check with negotiation if I was asking the person, streetwise if I was trying to get on the black market, and maybe knowledge society if I was trying to buy it legally. I think clone chips are going to be illegal. I think clone chips would be highly, highly illegal, because they're too good. They stop programs from breaking. It's going to be on the black market. But anyway, that's rarity. What about this fellow? This is a corporate card. So if I was to try and buy a Bioroid, right? How rare is this? This is a 4. Oh, 3. So double that is 6. Hard to find. Now, I don't think Has Bioroid would make their Bioroids hard to find. But if I was looking for a specific one, a low-grade one, a low-grade damaged Bioroid, I think it would be a bit harder to find. Maybe because this Bioroid has been wiped or tampered with. That's why it's low-grade. That's why it's hard to find. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, moving on. Brittle characters. Let's see how this works with brittle characters. So, this is my character here. And my character is trying to find a particular broken down Bioroid. Now, if I was to ask someone, my negotiation is terrible. It's only 2 green. That's very bad. But I've used all 120 influence I was given. So my character gets 100 influence starting, plus the 20 influence boost from taking a big favor. And what I've done is I've put all the stats into my main characteristics. So I took the intellectual archetype. I buffed my intellect up to 4 by 1. So that cost me 40. That cost me 40 experience points. I buffed my agility up by 1. That cost me another 10. And I buffed my willpower up to 3. That cost me 30. So 70, 80 so 80 experience points already spent on just buffing my characteristics. It doesn't really leave much, does it? No, I'm sure I had more. 80, because that's... Wait a minute. Intellect from 3 to 4, that's 40. Agility from 1 to 2, that's... Oh, that's 20. There we go. Yeah, so agility, that costs 20 influence. And then willpower, yeah, 60, 90. But anyway, the point is that it's just left me really brittle here. So a whole lot of green. So if I was to do a negotiation check for looking for these bioroids, I'm going to use the dice app here. So looking for a particular broken down bioroid, I'm probably going to have to negotiate some. I'm going to have to negotiate with like with someone, so that's going to be quite a hard check because it's someone else's bioroid there. So that's 4 dice, and then I've got my 2 dice here. Roll it. Oh my god, I succeeded. So I succeeded there. I don't know how I managed to succeed that, but it's possible. So let me just roll it again. I succeeded again. I succeeded again. So I don't know. Okay, this time I actually failed. Okay, actually failed that time. Wow, so I succeeded in 2 out of 3 tries, considering there were 4 purple dice and 2 green dice. But just looking at my stat block. How much yellow is there? What chance of me is there of me critically succeeding? It's very low. Let's take a combat check. Now I've actually got one brawl there, so I've actually got a yellow there. So green and yellow, and then maybe an average attack. Let's just say an average punch. An average punch has failed. See, an average punch has failed. I've got 1 threat there. This one succeeded. I don't know how it succeeded, but it succeeded. It's not impossible. It's just really, really flimsy. Now, until I get about another 25 or 100 experience, it's going to take me a while to level those out. So what should you do if you didn't want your characters to be so brittle? What you should do is maybe invest in your skills. So let's try Brawl again, but this time I'm going to have, let's say, 3 skill in Brawl. So that would give me 2 yellows and a green, and I'm going to make an average fight, so that means 3 difficulty. Roll it. Oh my god, I failed. I don't know how the hell I failed that. Let's try it again. I succeeded with a boost. One more time. I succeeded and I got a critical there. So my point is, after this long rambling thing, is if you're going to do what I do and maximize your characteristics, because again, at the start of the game is the only time you can truly boost your characteristics without a level 5 talent. if you don't, if you want to maximize your character, have a real powerful character by the end of the game, you're gonna have to do this. Otherwise, just boost it into the skills, and just get the yellows, because then you can do critical successes. Pardon me. Right. And now we're gonna go on to what I call the locker story. So the whole point of this whole rambling mess about getting the specialized loot and a critical and the brittle characters that are not so brittle is you're going to be playing against corporations. Now, for my money, you shouldn't be dealing with corporations right off the bat. You should get no hint of them, really. What you should be dealing with is street thugs and org crime. Because if a corporation is involved, that's like a level 100, level 80 being that you don't want to mess with, and you're level 1. It's just going to crash you. Don't have corps straight off the bat. Now, if you want to understand what corps are like without reading all that fluff text, I'm going to tell you how to understand it. Corporations are lockers. Lockers that hold vast amounts of money. You can put coins in through the slot, but you can't put your hand in through the slot to get the money out. And I don't know why you want to put your money in there, but you've got no choice. There's a gun to your head. There's a gun to your head. You got bills to pay. You've got to put coins in the slot. So, let's start with Hasbiroid. A Hasbiroid locker, right? It's got 2 or 3 of those number locks. Like it's got 2 or 3 number locks. You know, you twist it, you can hear the click, and you can try and open it. So if you're a hacker or if you're someone trying to get money out of it, trying to open the locker to get money out, you twist the lock, you've put in the right combination, you can hear the click, open it, you get your money out. But Hasbiroid lockers, they got 3 locks on them. So you're there trying to open it, click, 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 click. Yeah, if you can do it, if you've got the time, you can do it. But again, it's 3 locks. It's going to take so much time to get through. And the worst part is, right? Even if you do get through all those locks, by the time you get through it, a security guard's come by, or someone's come by to check on the lock, and you get interrupted, and then you have to go away and try and come back and pray that no one has reset those locks. That is a Hasbiroid lock, because their ice is really chunky. You can get through it if you got the time, but it's just so annoying, so time consuming. Next is NBN, or near Earth broadcasting, whatever. They're all about speed, fast talking. Yeah. We've got the latest, shiniest thing. Yeah. Now their lockers aren't really even locked, right? Not really. You just got to watch an ad first. They're just covered with ads and papers, and they've even got one locker. They've got lots of little lockers. So you're there, you got a locker, you open it up, you look, you open up a wrong one, and all of a sudden you got an ad in your face, and it's like, and like someone comes along and says, you want to buy this? Hey, you want to buy this? Hey, yeah, come buy this. Look, so we've got nice buy royals to sell. You've got clones to say, you want to buy this? No? Okay, well then close the locker. So you close the locker. And then you open the next one. Oh, hey! And so it comes back. Hey, okay, you know what? So you didn't like that? Oh, I remember you. You're from before. Yeah, so you looked at, I've got your name, I've got your record, I've got what you looked at. So I noticed that when you was looking at the buy roll, you seemed really interested. Okay, I know you maybe can't afford it. Maybe you want a cheap one. What do you want? It's like, and it's just lots of rigmarole. You can get in, but you don't know which locker's got what you want. So most of the lockers are just filled with naff advertisements. And worse, the more lockers you open that are wrong, the more information they get on you, the more stuff they try to sell you. Eventually, to shut them up, you have to buy. Otherwise, you're just going to live your constant life with this in your ear. It's annoying. Next, we've got Jinteki. Jinteki is the consummate Japanese corporation. The way they do things is slightly different. How do I put this? Their lockers don't have locks either, but they cut you. It's very sharp. You have to open. You have to maybe open it just right, because if you just grab it with your hand, you're gonna get cut, and it's not just gonna be an ordinary cut; it's gonna be a poisonous cut. There's gonna be needles, razor wire, so you have to open it very gingerly, or just rip it up fast. And not only is that locker going to have razor wire, but the floor is going to have razor wire. So you watch yourself, and if you go too slow, someone's going to see you, and you're going to get caught. and worse still, if you open unlike Hasbide with one giant locker, or MBN with lots and lots of little lockers, you're going to there's going to be 2 or 3 lockers. 2 or 3. Now, if there's 2 lockers, one of them's going to kill you because it's going to be a needle bomb. Well, no. It's going to be a needle gun that's going to just go, and you're just going to. And one of them's going to have what you want. And the messed up thing is, what you want is also going to be covered in needles and blades and poison. It's just going to be slow death by 1,000 cuts. And if you're lucky, you'll just find a note saying that they killed your friends and family. Next is Wayland. Now, Wayland has just one big, massive lock. One massive lock. And if you smash that lock and get inside, great. Start running. Because I guarantee you, right? The second you open that locker, someone's coming for you. And if they can't get to you, they will get to your friends and family. And it's not going to be no subtle note like Jinteki. You're just going to go home and your home's missing. It's just going to be a crater in the ground. Keep running. Just keep running. With that, I hope you understand what corporations are like. And why you don't want to mess with them. Oh, damn it, I should have showed you this. Now, you have to be really careful here, because when you're playing games and you finally do get to level, you're ready to challenge your corporation, and you're going to start rolling. You're going to start rolling your stats. MBN is going to be... You're going to be very vigilant against MBN. And you're going to be very disciplined as well. But no, that's going to be against Wayland. I don't think my stats as I am is going to be able to stand up to it, to be honest. I did win some of those rolls. Just look at your character sheet. Just think, are you ready? I don't think I'm ready. Oh dear. Oh dear. So let's look at some of these operations, and actually let's look at the agendas. Let's look at some cool stories we can make with all the gunk we just came up with just now. As I said, you don't want to be dealing with corporations right off the bat. So how do you come up with stories and stuff like that without the corporations and just some street gangs? Well, you should be just doing your job. If you're an NAPD player, you should be just protecting a street from street, like just protecting a street, solving a murder mystery. If you're a delivery person, you should just be delivering some data or delivering some food, just delivering something mundane, and then your life gets interrupted. But what does it get interrupted by? It gets interrupted by one of these babies here, an agenda. In the Netrunner card game, the whole point of the game is to get these agenda cards, because they are literally corporate missions. So what kind of corporate missions are we dealing with? We could have like here a corporate war. Let's just go for it. The corporate war here, there are several ways to win a corporate war. One of them was to bring out the bazookas. Now, this card is rated at 4 difficulty and it's worth 2 points. Here's my proposal. The difficulty means there should be 4 encounters. And these encounters shouldn't be anything too big or too dangerous. They should just be 4 encounters. Now, of those 4 encounters, you need to win 2 of them. If you win 2 of them, then like whoever wins 2 of them first wins the corporate war. And you could probably have some kind of tie or something like that there. But after that, the agenda should be decided. So the way corporate war works is if you've got 7 credits, you get 7 more. Okay, that works well for the card game, but what about you as an RPG player? The way corporate war is going to work, if you got, let's say, if you're rich and have 700 credits, let's say, you got 700 credits invested in something, and then you win corporate war, you get 700 more credits. Otherwise, you lose all your money. What kind of encounters could this be? Well, this is expansion. It's an expansion type of agenda, so that must mean some kind of faction must be expanding. The reason why I'm not going to involve a corporation in this is because this agenda is neutral. So this agenda is not owned by any particular corporation. So what I propose is this. A gang is expanding their territory. And another gang doesn't like that they're expanding their territory. And you're somehow caught in the middle of this. So you're a teacher, so you're an academic. You're doing research on crime statistics, or no, not crime statistics. You're doing research on finding God ice. You know what? You're finding God ice, and you've heard like rumors that you can find and contact this God ice in this particular location. So you're there. All of a sudden, a gang war breaks out. And you've got your research funds. Now, these 2 gangs are fighting. What kind of encounters can you have? The first encounter is them shooting at each other. You're caught in the middle with a bunch of other people. The first encounter, you're not trying to win it. You just have to escape it. You escape it. You get 1 point towards the 2 points needed to win. Great. Now it looks like the corporate war is going one way for one gang and bad for the other, and they want help. So you offer to buy your way out somehow, maybe, or you offer to call the police, or you do something. Now, because you've done something, you've taken part, and then a gang member sees, oh, this person's got involved, right? Yeah, you got to try and talk you out of this. That's your second thing. You've got to try and talk you out because they think you're on one side of the gang or the other. You've got to try and talk you out of it. You managed to talk you out of it? Great. Survived it. You've won the corporate war. You don't survive, you do very bad, they think you're part of the gang. Now you've got to prove yourself because you failed this mission. You've got to prove yourself by attacking the other gang members somehow. So you go to the other side of the gang. You go to the opposing gang. And the same thing happens again. They think that you're on the other side. You've got to try and convince them. Now, if you fail this, right? If you fail this, then you've got to go to one more session where you actually have to fight it out. You either fight this gang or you fight the other gang. That's the only way of winning this. But if you do convince them that, no, I'm part of your gang, I've got some money here, they'll give you some money. And that's the way the corporate war ends. And you've won this first agenda here. So let's go over that again. First, there's a fight. You have to escape that. You don't escape that. You don't escape that. You've lost a point there. That the opposing, the GM, gets a point for that. Or if you manage to escape, get out of that cleanly, you get the point. The middle 2 points. The middle 2 points are you dealing with the opposing conflicts of the gang. You either have to talk to them. You have to talk to them, convince them that you're on their side, and you say after you've done both those 2, the third one is you actually having a fight. So that's 2 physical, that's 2 fighting encounters and 2 social encounters there. Great balance. Let's go on to a next one now. Let's see if we can figure out a next one. Ooh, corporate executive retreat. You know what? The future is now. Let's do that. Let's do that. The future is now, because that seems quite difficult. This is initiative. Okay. So what this normally means by initiative is that something has changed. So there's a new technology coming along, and now you have to deal with it. In this case, the Universe of Tomorrow pack, this was about corporation. This pack of cards was about corporations showing off the fancy new stuff coming out over the next year. This is a new technology we've got. This is what's coming out now. It's happening now. There's in this case, and this is a push for new technology to colonize Mars. Okay, this is going to be more social. You only need to win one. So let's see. Had a academic in the last one. Let's have a courier. Right? You're doing your job, right? You've just got a request to deliver out some tech. You've got 3 samples of this technology for changing soil, making soil grow more, and you're delivering it out. Now your boss is like, this tech is so annoying. We have to look how much of this tech we've got to deliver. So maybe you've got to convince your boss that this tech is a good thing or it's a bad thing, because a representative is there, and him and the representative are arguing about how to get the shipment out there because there's certain time constraints that it can't get to the right place. So you have a social check there. Okay, that's great. Or maybe you've got to get it delivered in a certain way using a certain, because like someone's got to try and stop you. But I think that's the next one actually. No, that's going to be the next one. First one is a social one. You've got to like try and you've got to take sides in this social argument, and you've got to come out on top looking smart. If you don't do that, next thing is getting it delivered to your place on time, and then someone's trying to stop you, like Humanity First or a Moony, like a loony. You deliver it to a loony and a moon person, and they're like, "Oh, this stuff is bad because it's gonna take away our jobs and whatnot," or it does. Yeah, this stuff is bad. It's gonna take away our jobs. Okay, so maybe you still got to get them to sign for it somehow. Convince them, because they don't want to sign for it, but you've got to get them to sign for it because you've got to do your job. Okay, somehow you don't get to sign for it. That's pretty bad. So you've got to go all the way back now, all the way back to your job, and if they sign for it, great, you've won. If they haven't signed for it, you've got to convince the rep of, "Oh no, sorry, this is bad, this isn't working." You've got to convince them of the other side. So either way, whatever happens in the first step of the agenda, you go one way. You see, either you lose that, you win that, great. You got to ship it out, no problem. If you lose that, you got to come back and convince of the other side to make it easier to win. But you only need to win one. It's only worth 1 point. Right, last one here. I mean, that one was kind of tough, but I still think it's a good exercise. This is the way you use agendas. I got one. Paper trail. Security. Oh, I love this one. Okay, so paper trail is going to have 4 steps. You need to get 2 of them. It's security. Okay. So there's evidence out there somewhere, and you've got to stop it. I know. Okay, there's a document being released, and this document is watermarked. The thing is, this document is on no computer because it's watermarked. So if anyone scans this document onto a pad or anything like that, they get tracked down and murdered because the watermark makes it so you can trace it. But you don't know this, of course. You don't know this. The GM knows this. So let's pick a... You're a PI, and you're investigating this. You're investigating this paper trail. So in the beginning, you find a dead body, and you've got to investigate clues. If you investigate clues, great, you get a point. If you don't, well then you get a bit shaky here. Okay, in the next session, in the next encounter, you're going back to the office and you're filing reports on this. And you notice that when you copy this data from the pad, it flags up. It's like, oh, this is corporate material. You shouldn't have this. You should not have access to this. And your boss comes in and he's chewing you out. You've got to say, get rid of this now. You've got to There's got to be a legal issue of this, and it's like within half an hour, there are lawyers there breathing down your neck, and that's the next social encounter. So investigation encounter there, a social encounter there. Those are the two things that lawyers breathing down your neck. Now, if you investigate right, if you do the right thing during a social encounter, you can get off your neck. You can close the case. You found something, just close the case there. But if you're forced to look for this, if you fail this for some reason, you're forced to look onto it. You've got to track down the person who leaked this, and maybe they're on the run. You don't know where they are. You've got to track them down. That's the next session there. That's the next encounter. Trying to track someone down. There are ways you can do that. So let's see. Let me show. So let's say the difficulty of finding this person, of tracing this person, is quite hard. So let's say 4. So I've got 4 purple dice. You know what? I'm going to put 3 purple dice, 1 red dice to track this person down. And let's have a look at my character stats here. Streetwise or vigilance. So for me, if this was my character, it would be very bad. But I've got a very good knowledge of society. So I'll be using my knowledge of society. I'll be using 4 greens. So that's what I'm going to use to check. I'm going to use my knowledge of society to try and track down whoever was involved in copying this paper trail. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Roll it. Okay, I straight up failed. I biffed that one really bad. So I straight up failed. So I don't really know where to look for this person. So because I don't know where to look for this person, instead I'm going to be talking to some streetwise people. I'm going to be hustling. It's going to be very difficult for me. I have to go through some extra hoops, whatever, to track down this person. And again, if I failed all 3 here, notice that, then I've lost this agenda. You see, I don't get to go any further. I've already lost because I need 2 of the 3. So I have to succeed in tracking down this person for me to stand a chance at scoring this agenda and winning these points. So let's just say I did find this person, did track him down. What happens now? I track down this person and I either fight or I have a social encounter. Let's see. So I try to talk to them, find out why. They know something's wrong. Oh, it goes wrong. I have a fight. And that's how this agenda goes. That's it. So you see how it goes? How many stories have I made so far just by looking at these agendas? I've made 2 or 3 stories just by looking at these agendas. Let's go back. But again, if you're going to be using agendas, you start with the blank ones. You start with these nice grey. You can tell they're neutral by the fact they've got 0 pips at the bottom. So if you look at the bottom of all of them, well, actually this one's got 1. This merger has got 1. So I'd say that this should be a step up. But this merger has 1 pip. So the way that you should be running your games is you start with a blank agenda. Maybe after 1 or 2 blank ones, so you start with street crime. After the street crime, you go up to the organized crime. After the organized crime, you go up to the local government and maybe local corporations, local businesses. And then, and only then, can you even begin to deal with corporations. Let's look at some corporation agendas here. So you can see what they are by the thing in the corner. They got Haspiroid. Let's take brain rewiring. Okay, so this is a Haspiroid agenda. So you're going to mainly be dealing with Haspiroid. There's going to be lots of locks everywhere. So if you're trying to break into the building, there's going to be lots of painful scrutiny, lots of security checks. It's going to be really, really tiresome. If you make one wrong check, it's going to be so much trouble. So how can we do this? Let's have a look at this. Security, right? So it's a security one. It's got some flavor text here. The black level clearance sub basement of Haspiroid is a magical place. Tahiti. Yeah, it's like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if you know that. Okay. So this is going to be a free encounter kind of agenda. It's going to be security, and it's going to involve black level clearance. Now remember, this is going to be a hard mission. This is not going to be for no level 1. This is going to be end game kind of stuff I'm talking about here. You should only be dealing with this at the end. Like, it's going to be after a long campaign of maybe an entire year, 6 months, whatever. After a really long campaign, you're going to be doing. Maybe you've got 400 experience points even. You should be dealing with this, or maybe 200. But you should not be doing this until you're near the end. So, you've got like a hint that has bioids onto something. You want to find. You want to find out what's been happening to people, because there's been a security leak. You've been noticed that you want to know how they're making these bioids so lifelike. You find out like a really lifelike bioid. In fact, you just like find a bioid that seems to have human memories. In fact, that's the plot of Golem, the book. Spoilers. So you want to find out about it. Your first encounter is you speak to someone, or you find someone's dead body, and you find out about this. So you either speak to someone, they're alive or dead. Hopefully they're alive, and you get this information. But you need to get more information out of them. You need to do a social check. You need to fight them, torture them. You need to do something to them to get more information. Now, if you're lucky, you can get all the information you need from them. Maybe crack their pad, because they can't crack the information, because they got the information encoded in it, or they've already got the information, but they can't fully decode it, or they can only tell you bits and pieces of it. They can't get everything. So maybe if you're a good enough hacker, or if you've got like good enough detective skills, good enough connections of your own, you can work out a way to get that encoded data off them straight away. If you don't, you'll have to start thinking about going to the source, because they're dead now. Something happened. Someone tried to shut them up because you're trying to talk to them. You couldn't get information from them in time. Next encounter. In this next encounter, you're trying to chase down someone. Maybe it's a rogue bioid that killed them. Somehow they don't know how they died. You could find out that what killed them was a rogue bioid, and then maybe this bioid tells you figure out that this bioid's been rewired, and then you find out, you get information from that bioid. You manage to rip it out of their bioid. Somehow you manage to prove it by incapacitating this bioid and capturing the data. So you either get it there or you don't. If you don't, you have to break in to the sub basement. So that means going to a division somewhere in Has Bioid where they're doing the rewiring. You get the black level clearance. You break in, get information, get out. And again, that's very difficult there. That's really difficult. That's a tough mission. So either way, you have to get the first piece of information from one place and then break in. It's very difficult there. So I struggled with that one a bit, but I still think that the idea holds up. Ooh. See, look at this one, Project Wotan. That means that's when they're hooking people up from hospital beds to make ice. So they're not using, because supposedly ice is made from bioid brains, but they're using hospital patients to wire them up. That's sick. And Ikawa Project is when they hook up human brains to it, when they should be using bioid brains. So that's a thing they should look into. Let's look at Jinteki. Ooh. Viral weaponization. Oh dear. So this is going on in Africa. Oh dear. Quick and deadlier than ever, the trial was an outstanding success. That's the flavor text. Oh dear. So Jinteki is testing out viruses in Africa. Oh dear. So that's this is research and security. So I think that hacking should be involved in this. So let's pick a character. You don't have to be a runner, that would be too obvious. Let's pick a con artist. Again, you're a high level con artist. You think there's money to be made here. So what you're doing is, as a high level, you're trying to, you realize that some of these people are dead. You try and take over some of the identities, that's what you're trying to do. But you realize that something really, really deep is going on here. So you either get information on what's going on here, that could be a point, or you don't. You just take their identities and that's what you're doing. Now, because if you win and you find out there's some viral research going on, you can go and attack it straight away. But if you don't, what can happen is that someone else comes after you because they think you're still alive. Wait, this person was supposed to be dead during the viral research. How are they still alive? And you could have a fight there, could have an encounter, because it's security. Security means that people are going to try and kill you. So and if you found out a virus is involved, and you find some proof there somewhere, and then the security people try and kill you, and then you've got some proof of that. Well, then you've won. You've figured out, oh hey, I found out that this virus was done by Jinteki. It was done on purpose. Here's my proof because I won the first two. Done. But if you don't, let's just say the security people incapacitate you, or you managed to escape, but you didn't win the fight. Next, you try and break into a Jinteki research facility to try and figure out what's going on. You either find out what's going on or you don't. Last this effort, you've got to break into the secure part of this one, either by hacking or by just like conning someone else into doing it for you. You know, I've got the report on such and such person that I found dead. Here's their details. Here's their biosigns and whatnot. Here's some samples. You succeed in following them or you don't, and you're dead. And actually, you know what? Yeah, it's just no, that's it. So that's it. I'm going to stop it right there because wow, it's so deep. Okay. Anyway, so we looked at some agendas there. Next, we're going to look at the final thing before I. Wow, it's so deep. So the last thing we look at here is operations. Now, as I explained that these are cool loot drops, I think the GM should have some cool loot stuff as well. Stuff that it can throw at you instead of just throwing minions at you. Yeah. Instead of just throwing these minions at you, which are all in the book, and I'll do a review on these. Maybe you can throw something else at the players. So let's just say, right, you've got your agendas lined up. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So you're playing the game and you're going through your sessions. So this is session 1, session 2, session 3, and it's got the 2, 4, it's got whatever it is, right? Now, let's make a rule. During a session, using a story point, using however many story points are listed on the card, let's say. So some of them require 1 story point, some of them require no story points. It requires, let's just say the number at the top requires how many story points it requires to play this card. Yeah, that makes sense. It's how many story points to play this card. And let's just say we're doing the whole let's just say we're doing that last one we did, where a con artist is trying to figure out why all these people, you don't care about why these people died, you're trying to scam these people that died. And you find out Jinteki is involved. Let's say, what happens if you play scarcity of resources? So the GM plays this, right? They spend 1 story point because it's got cost 1 story point, and increases the install cost of each resource by 2. So let's just say that if you want to buy something, the price goes up. If you want to try and hunt something down, the difficulty check increases by 2. You see all these things start being difficult. In fact, that could be a reason why you're looking for it, because of the scarcity of resources. But the point is that you can't find stuff for your job now. You can't find the face mask to change it because of the scarcity of resources. That costs a lot more, and your money's being pressured. And until you win the current session, that's going to be in play, because until you score the agenda, that stays into play, and in fact it might even carry on into your next session. So let's just say you fail this one, the GM wins this one, it's going to carry on into this one because it's a current. It stays in play. Painful. So you're not going to want that around. But yeah, and again, that's a neutral one, so that could happen at any time. Let's just say you're getting involved with MBN now. You're going up against MBN. There's a new story that's going to come out, and that's going to slander you. It's going to make you famous for some reason. It's going to frame you for a crime you didn't commit. And so during the middle of this, a GM can only play one. Well, let's say one card per session. Play only if the runner is tagged. So if you get tagged, if you get fully traced and you get given a tag in game, then this gets put into play. And all of a sudden, you can't use two things anymore. Like you had two items. So let's just say you had a pad, and you can't use that pad anymore because everything you put on that pad gets broadcast. So let's just say you got some private recordings on there. All of a sudden, you've realised that that's being broadcast on YouTube. Wait, I was like, oh, my phone's tagged. It got hit by a personal growth program. Oh no, it's gotten rid of my YouTube. It's gotten rid of my Facebook account. It's all no. Oh, my private emails are being leaked. You don't like that. That's a thing that can happen. Right. Let's do one more, and I'm going to leave it at that because I've rambled on long enough. Oh, this is a good one. Snatch and grab. So no story points. Let's just say you're doing the one with the street gangs. You're in the middle of a corporate war, and all of a sudden the GM plays a snatch and grab as part of an action. So let's see. Let's read the story. The last thing he saw was a tattoo of a strange beast on his captor's neck. It was a goat's head, the body of a lion, and the bag was yanked over his head, and there was only darkness. So it's trace 3. What does that mean? That means it's going to be they're going to play it, and there's going to be a check, and this check is going to be 3 green. Let's say. So I'm going to put 3 greens here. So the GM gets 3 greens, and then they're going to roll against you. Now let's just say if you're in the middle of a fight, you can see what can you roll against. I think they're going to roll against. They can either roll against my deception, my stealth, cunning, or cunning. So all of those are 2. I'm going to have a lot of trouble avoiding this. I'm afraid. Yeah, that's it. So if someone's looking for you, they're going to find you. Oh dear. So there's going to be 3 there. So I get 2. That means the GM gets 2 purples. I'm going to roll. The GM fails! The GM fails! Yes! But let's just roll it again. GM failed again. Failed again. Okay, this succeeded this time with a threat. Okay, let's just say they succeed because I want to go over this. Let's just say they succeed. If they succeed, right? Trash 1 connection, or I can take a tag. Now, as we've established, right, before, tags can be very devastating. I mean, I got my phone jacked when I got tagged because they found out where I live. They found out about my stuff. My stuff got tagged. All my public stuff got broadcasted. Now I can either take a tag, or someone gets kidnapped, and let's just say you get kidnapped, you get questioned. So you get, let's just say for the rest of the session you get, let's just say for the rest of the session someone gets incapacitated and taken away. I think when it says connection, I think that should be a minion group. So let's just say your cheap Byroid gets taken away. So either you take one tag as a player, or your minion, the Byroid you spent so much time looking for gets taken away as part of the story. That's painful. So you just think, yeah, and you think, oh, getting my stuff trashed is not so bad. Well, let me show what else can happen if you get tagged. Now, this is 3 story points, okay? So this is a big effing deal. I'm just going to read the flavor text to you. I'd like to remind the ladies and gentlemen of the press and several of the buildings that were damaged in the blast were owned by the Weyland Consortium. Okay, now, so again, this is only if you're going up against Weyland. If you're going up against Weyland and you get tagged, bye-bye. I'm sorry. Goodbye. Because the building you're in is going to get blown up. So it's going to be 4 damage here. You know what? Having read anything, just 4 wounds. I don't know why I tried to make it more complicated than it is. It's just 4 wounds. It says it right on the card. 4 meat damage, 4 wounds. I don't know why it makes it complicated. Sorry for dragging this out, everyone. I'm just going to leave you by recommending that, yes, you put in tags and you add some more talents. Just have fun with the game. Again, if you found any of this interesting or exciting it to the slightest, please let me know if you want anything more. Thank you and goodbye.